Derrick Henry versus Paul Kuharsky, huh? Who had that on their 2024 bingo card? Considering Cork Bats is still the #1 Derrick Henry fan site on the internet, you know I had to weigh in on this. Derrick Henry, of course, joining forces with Lamar Jackson as Baltimore Ravens running back.
First off, Lamar Jackson isn't a running back.
Lamar Jackson's a quarterback.
Well, Lamar's not a running back.
Don't play with Lamar. Lamar is a quarterback and not a running back.
Paul Kuharsky, a very good journalist, very opinionated radio host and podcaster, and, well, sometimes provocateur. And, well, a lot of times provocateur. Now, PK was just recently on vacation, as we all remember.
I was doing my inventory of who was out here today in the media. I did notice that we're probably missing a couple guys, maybe one in particular. Unexcused absence for Paul today.
Well, I guess PK got plenty of rest. And his Twitter thumbs came back in midseason form because he tweeted the following. If you root for Derrick Henry to the extent that you want the Ravens to win so much as a game, you are not the Titans fan you think you are. Period. Not up for debate. Now, look, on the PK meter of opinionated, this is probably like a 6, maybe a 7. But considering he tweeted anything about the Titans and or the king himself, Derrick Henry, you know this piled up some engagement. And naturally, this tweet got back to Derrick Henry, who most of the time would probably just overlook it, not say anything. Because I don't know if you've noticed this or not. Derrick Henry throws up fewer words than he does incomplete passes. But for whatever reason, this one struck a chord with the king, and he hopped on Twitter himself. And he hit PK with the quote tweet, "Paul, go find something to do." Look, look. Kings stay kings, am I right? Well, training camp's supposed to start this week, and Derrick Henry's already hitting people with the stiff arm. It goes Earl Thomas, Josh Norman, Alexander Myers, now Paul Kuharsky, apparently. And now, as the unbiased sports blogger that I am, as the mostly unbiased sports blog, as the incredibly biased sports blogger that I am going to say, like, yeah, okay, I see where Derrick Henry's coming from. He's going to stick up for the fans that have supported him over the last 8 years. But the Titans fan in me, I mean... Come here. PK's not wrong. What? Guys, I'm serious. Like, PK actually makes a good point. If you're a Tennessee Titans fan, you cannot be rooting for the Ravens for a number of reasons, which I'll get to in a bit. But rooting for Derrick Henry and the Ravens are not one and the same. Obviously, I'm a massive Derrick Henry fan. I hope he rushes for 2,500 yards next year. Sets the NFL record. But I also want the Ravens to lose just about every game. In fact, there's only one game I want the Ravens to win, and that's Christmas against the Texans. I've already put it on my list to Santa. But I cannot root for the Baltimore Ravens to win a single game. The Ravens, to me, as it should be for most Titans fans who are old enough, should be the Titans' 4th division opponent because the hatred there is strong. Now, look, I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of comments on this video from Ravens fans being like, "Oh, well, we don't think of you one bit," as they eat their crab cakes or whatever the hell they do in Maryland. And, like, I get that. Look, nobody thinks of the Titans outside of Titans fans, so that's fine. But I'll admit it, that doesn't go both ways. As Titans fans, we hate the Ravens. We hate them. And for good cause, too. I mean, this is a rivalry that is so evenly split. The Ravens lead the Titans all-time 14-13. And in the postseason, they bested them 3-2. And then you add on the extracurriculars, the hatred between Eddie George and Ray Lewis, the Ravens stomping on the Titans logo, Derrick Henry converting Earl Thomas into his own fullback during a game. Like, the back and forth between the Ravens and Titans is just so futile.
Every camera turned off. Every one of them turned off. Turned off. Okay? The Titans.
There's a reason we call them the Ratbirds. That's what made Derrick Henry going to the Ravens so hard to grasp. So hard to come to terms with. It's like, really? You could have gone to anyone, but them? And don't get me wrong, the Ravens are going to be really good next year. But as a Titans fan, that's what I'm rooting for. 2,500 yards from Derrick Henry and a 1-16 record. As Paul Kuharsky points out in his mentions, it's not likely. But hey, a girl can dream, right? I'm adding that to my list of Santa as well. So look, while this Twitter moment was absolutely hilarious, I can also see that, like, PK's not entirely wrong here. Aside from that fan who randomly wore a Derrick Henry jersey in the AFC Championship last year, we actually tracked down and talked to, I'm never rooting for the Ravens. So I do see where PK is coming from. But still funny, though. And to keep things in the news, just today, Arden Key also went off on PK. I'm going to say it probably the first time in Titan history. Paul Kuharsky, don't nobody F with you or respect you, buddy. Next question. First of all, you would think that Arden, of all people, would remember the key on the end of someone's last name. But quite frankly, this doesn't change my opinion on Paul Kuharsky. He's still a really good journalist. And a really good journalist isn't necessarily going to be friends with all of the players on the team. In fact, I kind of prefer that they're not. Paul is a journalist that is going to hold the Titans' feet to the fire when they're not performing, which they haven't done in the last 2 seasons. So naturally, the players on that team are not going to like him. As long as Paul continues to provide great coverage of the Titans, as a fan, I'm still going to appreciate it. And if the players hate him, that's not going to sway my position on him. But as a fan, I'm also really going to enjoy press conferences now. Like, imagine Paul asking a critical question in the locker room, and Arden Key just goes off and starts doing this. Look, I don't want the journalists covering my teams to be buddy-buddy with the players they're covering. You're not going to get unbiased or impartial coverage that way. So if anything, PK, you keep being you. And Arden Key, You keep being you. And fans, we're going to keep being us. And just enjoy the whole thing. As a Titans fan, I'm a fan of the Titans. But as a sports blogger, I'm a fan of team content. Let's ride.